In 2024, while we scroll through social media and debate our freedoms online, 25 million North Koreans live without the right to choose their job, their home, or even their hairstyle. Today, you'll hear from Young-in, a former Air KORYO flight attendant who lived the regime's model life in Pyongyang. She had everything the system could offer. But when her 17-year-old son received his military draft notice for a 10-year sentence of starvation and abuse, she faced an impossible choice: stay silent or risk everything for freedom. This is her story of escape from the world's most repressive regime. If these stories matter to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring these untold stories to light. Together, we can be a voice for those who cannot speak. I'm about to share a story with you. If this helps you, please subscribe and like. Here's how it all began. 2017, Pyongyang Moranbong District, Changgwang Street. My family lived on the 12th floor of an apartment there. Every morning I could see Kim Il-sung Square through the window. In the distance, the Taedong River sparkled. As you probably know, living in Pyongyang, especially on Changgwang Street, was a huge privilege. Like living in Beverly Hills. I was a flight attendant for Air KORYO, the international airline. Did that job for 10 years. Every time I put on that blue uniform and stepped onto the plane, I felt proud. Being a flight attendant was highly coveted. You had to be at least 5'5", a party member, and from a good family background. I was someone the system approved of. My husband, Chul-soo, worked as a section chief at a trading company. He was 45, honest, loved his family. We had 2 kids. Our son Min-soo was 17 in high school. Our daughter Yoon-ji was 14 in middle school. And my mother-in-law, Park Soon-ja, was 68. She used to be a teacher but had retired by then. She looked after the grandkids and made kimchi for the whole family every November. The 5 of us living together, our family was held up as a model household. The party gave us awards. Neighbors envied us. Young-in's family is so harmonious. That's what a true socialist family looks like. We heard that a lot. On weekends, the whole family went to Moranbong Park for picnics. My mother-in-law packed rice balls she made herself. In spring, azaleas bloomed everywhere. In fall, the leaves turned brilliant colors. Min-soo and Yoon-ji ran up and down those hills. My husband and I sat beside my mother-in-law talking about this and that. "Mom, today at school I got 100 on the test about the Supreme Leader's words," Yoon-ji would brag. My mother-in-law would stroke her hair. "Our granddaughter is so clever. That's why you're a model family." Holidays were even busier. At New Year's, the whole family made rice cake soup. At Chuseok, my mother-in-law's hands shaped songpyeon. During kimchi-making season, we worked with neighbors salting cabbage, mixing spices. Even when food was scarce, even when the electricity cut out, those things didn't matter much. Having family together, that was enough to make us happy. I flew international routes 2 or 3 times a month, mostly the Beijing route. Pyongyang to Beijing took about an hour and a half. On board, I handed out drinks and made safety announcements. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at Beijing Capital Airport shortly." Every time I landed in Beijing, the same thought hit me. It's so big, so bright. Our Sunan Airport in Pyongyang couldn't compare. Still, I told myself it made sense. China has more people. It's a capitalist country. All that glitter is just surface level. But something felt off. Why did the Beijing airport staff smile so easily? Our attendants smiled too, but there was always tension underneath. These people looked genuinely relaxed. And the travelers passing through, especially tourists from South Korea, their clothes, bags, shoes, everything looked so nice. Same people, but why are South Koreans so different? The thought crossed my mind, but I quickly shook it off. No, that's just appearances. We're the ones who are truly happy. That's what I told myself. When I got home, the kids welcomed me. "Mom's here!" Yoon-ji ran and hugged me. Min-soo, embarrassed but curious, asked, "Mom, what did you bring today?" I'd pull out a few candies I'd secretly bought in Beijing. Things hard to find back home. My mother-in-law always had a warm dinner ready. "Young-in, you worked hard. Come eat." I loved her voice. The 5 of us sitting around the table for dinner, that was the happiest time. That's how I lived in Pyongyang. Model family mom. Air KORYO flight attendant. Back then, I believed all of this would last forever. But it wouldn't. Slowly, very slowly, I started to realize something was wrong. It was summer 2018. I boarded the Beijing flight like always. I didn't know it then, but that day would change my life. In the transit lounge at Beijing Capital Airport, I was resting with my fellow attendants. A Korean family sat down at the next table. A father, mother, and a son about Min-soo's age. The moment I saw what that kid was wearing, I couldn't breathe. Clean jeans, Nike sneakers, the latest smartphone in his hand. The family chatted and laughed. Not a care in the world. Just ordinary vacation travelers. This is what South Korean people look like. In the North, we were taught that South Korea was an American colony, that people there starved and suffered. But the family in front of me didn't look like that at all. They looked far better off than us. No comparison. Even on the flight back to Pyongyang, I couldn't stop thinking. Same people. Why so different? Why does that kid get to wear such nice clothes while our Minsu? When I got home, Minsu was doing homework. He'd spread out his worn textbook and lit a candle. The power was out again, common in the North. "Mom, you're back?" Minsu smiled warmly. Seeing his face, my heart sank. That Korean kid I saw in Beijing and our Minsu, both 17. Why do they have to live in such different worlds? A few days later, something even more shocking happened. A senior flight attendant I worked with disappeared. I can't say her name, but she was 2 years older than me. Always cheerful and kind. One day she didn't show up for work. The next day we got the announcement. Purged for being contaminated by reactionary ideology. What happened? Someone reported that she'd watched a South Korean drama. Never make that mistake. We're always being watched. Our supervisor warned us. My whole body froze. That night I couldn't sleep. I looked at my husband sleeping beside me and wondered, is this place really good? Should our kids have to spend their whole lives here? The next evening, Minsu asked me carefully, "Mom, can I ask you something?" His voice was so cautious, my heart sank. "What is it, son?" "Mom, you see South Korean people at the Beijing airport. Do they really live worse than us?" I couldn't answer. My 17-year-old son was staring straight into my eyes. In that gaze, I saw pure curiosity mixed with a desperate desire to know. "Minsu." I looked around. Was anyone listening? Walls have ears, they say. In the North, that was literally true. You have to be careful. Questions like that are dangerous. I squeezed my son's hand, then whispered, "Mom doesn't really know either." From that night on, I started to change. Or more accurately, I started to wake up. Every time I went to Beijing, I looked more carefully. The airport. People's clothes. Expressions. Everything. And I realized everything we'd been taught was a lie. South Korea is paradise on earth. The North is not. Even that thought was dangerous. I shook my head, but the seed had already been planted. Do our kids have to spend their whole lives in this system? Can't Minsu and Yunji live like those Korean kids I saw at the Beijing airport? That question wouldn't leave me. Night after night, I stared at the ceiling, listening to my mother-in-law's steady breathing, my husband's soft snoring, thinking about the kids sleeping in the next room. I didn't know yet. This small doubt, this small awakening, it would completely change our family's fate. And I didn't know what a cruel price we'd have to pay for that choice. A few months later, disaster came to our home. Fall 2018, Minsu came home from school with a notice. The moment I saw the paper in his hand, I nearly collapsed. Notice of enlistment in the People's Army. Minsu wanted to go to college. He studied hard. He was diligent, but in the North, getting into college was like plucking stars from the sky. Family background, party connections, bribes, everything had to line up perfectly. Our family didn't have that kind of power. "Mom, I don't want to go to the military." Minsu cried in front of me for the first time. My 17-year-old son cried like a little kid. 10 years, Mom. I have to be in the military for 10 years. 10 years. My son would be 27 when he got out. During that time, I knew he wouldn't eat properly. He'd be beaten, forced to do hard labor. I'd heard about a neighbor's son dying of malnutrition in the army. Minsu. I held my son tight. Mom will do something. But what could I do? I was just an ordinary flight attendant. My husband was just a company manager. We didn't have connections to powerful people. No serious money. Making things worse, my husband's company ran into trouble. International sanctions blocked trade. The company struggled. My husband's salary was cut in half. "Youngin, I'm sorry. This month, this is all I have." The money in my husband's hand was just a few thousand won. Not enough to buy rice at the market. Rations stopped too. Before we got them once or twice a month. Now nothing. I went to the market to check rice prices. 5,001 per kilogram. Our whole monthly salary could only buy 1 kilogram of rice. How can a family of 5 survive a month on that? I bought corn instead. Cheaper than rice. I came home and made corn porridge. My mother-in-law said, "Even during the Korean War, we didn't starve like this." The sadness in her voice still echoes in my ears. Worse was my mother-in-law's health. At 68, she had diabetes. She needed medicine, but the hospital had none. Insulin? You'll have to go to the market for that, the doctor said. About $1,000,000 for a month's supply. $1,000,000. More than our entire yearly salary. I searched the market but couldn't find that kind of money. My mother-in-law's hands and feet started going numb. Youngin, I'm fine. I'm old. This is how it should end. Even as she said that, I heard her groaning in pain every night. Around that time, Yunji had problems too. The school told her to prepare for a loyalty dance performance. She had to practice from dawn till late at night every day. Mom, I'm so tired. I barely eat anything. All I do is dance. My 14-year-old looked exhausted. The teacher said if I can't do it well, the whole family will be in trouble. Hearing that, I got angry. No, furious. What did my child do wrong to deserve this suffering? Why does a 14-year-old have to dance without eating properly? One night after the kids fell asleep, my husband and I talked quietly in the corner of the room. Honey, can we keep living like this? I asked. My husband didn't speak for a long time. Then he said quietly, I don't know either. But what can we do? If Minsu goes to the military, we won't see our son properly for 10 years. During that time, he'll starve, get beaten, suffer. Yunji just dances all day. Mother can't get her medicine. Young-in. My husband took my hand. You have to be careful. Just thinking those thoughts is dangerous. I knew, but I couldn't help it. That Korean family I saw at the Beijing airport kept coming back to me. Relaxed smiles, nice clothes, traveling without a care. Same people. Why do we have to live like this? Why do our kids have to suffer? That night I made a decision. I didn't have a concrete plan yet, but one thing was certain. This can't continue. At least our kids need a chance at a different life. That was the beginning. Perhaps the most dangerous and heartbreaking choice of my life. 2019 arrived. But our home had no hope. Early January, Minsu got his final enlistment notice. March 15th, report to the base in North Hamgyong province. Only 2 months left. That evening, Minsu came to my room. He opened the door carefully, came in, and knelt in front of me. Mom, I don't want to go to the military. Do you know how painful it is to see your 17-year-old son on his knees crying? My heart tore apart. Mom, I heard they only give you a few spoonfuls of corn a day there, and people get beaten to death. Mom, I'm scared. I held my son tight, and that night I finally decided, I can't let my kids rot in this place. Even if it means risking death, we have to get out. The next day, I secretly started making moves. First, I contacted a Korean-Chinese woman I'd met in Beijing. We'd met on a flight a few years ago. Sister, I need to talk to you. I spoke in a low voice in the Beijing airport bathroom. She listened to my situation and thought for a long time. Then she said this, it's dangerous. You know, if you're caught, you go to a political prison camp. Your whole family, I know, but I have to save my kids. She looked me straight in the eye. Are you really sure? There's no coming back. She paused. You can't all leave. Too dangerous. If all 5 of you disappear, they'll start tracking immediately. And when a flight attendant goes missing, state security will go crazy. Better to get the kids out first. On the flight back home, I cried the whole time. My coworkers thought I was sick, but it wasn't that. My heart was sick. I have to leave my husband behind. I have to leave my mother-in-law behind. That night I couldn't sleep. I looked at my husband sleeping beside me, the man I'd lived with for 15 years, a good, honest husband, father of 2 children, and my mother-in-law in the next room, the woman who loved me like her own daughter, suffering from diabetes. If I leave, who will take care of her? I agonized for days. Actually, agonized isn't the right word. I suffered. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just kept thinking. Then I decided, one night in February, my husband and mother-in-law staying here won't be dangerous. But Minsu and Yunji, these kids have no future in this place. At least the kids I have to save them. The next day I started secretly gathering money. I had some I'd saved over the years. About $5,000 in U.S. currency. I'd secretly exchanged it in Beijing. I met with a Korean-Chinese broker near the Beijing airport. 2 kids. $3,000 each. Adults are $5,000, I calculated. Me and 2 kids, $11,000. More than double everything I'd saved in my lifetime. But there was no other way. Let me give you half first. I'll pay the rest when we get to Korea. The broker shook his head. No. Full payment up front. In the end, I borrowed money from the Korean-Chinese woman in Beijing. I'll pay you back when we get to Korea. That's how I barely scraped together the money. Now all that was left was telling my husband and mother-in-law But I couldn't. If I told my husband, he'd absolutely say no, and my mother-in-law would collapse from the shock. So I decided to lie. The biggest, most heartbreaking lie of my life. Early March, I told my husband, "Honey, next week is my father's memorial service. I need to go to Chongjin." "Okay, I'm taking the kids too." "Why?" "They should see their grandfather." My husband didn't suspect anything. He trusted me. After 15 years together, he trusted his wife. I told my mother-in-law the same thing. "Mother, I'm going for my father's memorial. Won't take long." "All right, have a safe trip. Take care of the kids." My mother-in-law stroked Yoonji's hair. The night before we left, I snuck into my mother-in-law's room. I watched her sleep for a long time. "Mother, please forgive me. Your daughter-in-law is truly terrible. I'm sorry." I watched my husband's face too, lying beside me, snoring softly, sleeping peacefully. "Honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to leave you, but I have to save the kids." 5 a.m. I woke the kids. "Let's go quietly. Don't wake Dad." Before stepping out the front door, I looked around our home one last time. The place we'd lived for 15 years, where the kids were born and grew up, where we had so much laughter and love. The moment I closed the door, tears poured out. But I couldn't turn back. I'd already made my choice. In the taxi to the airport, Yoonji asked, "Mom, when are we coming back?" I couldn't answer. I just squeezed my daughter's hand tight. We weren't coming back. We only had the road ahead now. March 11th. We boarded the flight to Beijing. I wore my flight attendant uniform as usual, but my heart was racing. Minsu and Yoonji sat beside me, officially visiting their flight attendant mom. "Mom, my hands are shaking," Yoonji whispered. "It's okay. Hold Mom's hand." I was shaking too, but I had to be strong for the kids. The hour-and-a-half flight felt like 10 years. Even as I made announcements, I kept thinking, this might be the last time. If we're caught, we all die. We arrived at Beijing Capital Airport. Normally, I'd go to the hotel with my coworkers, but that day was different. "Seniors, today I want to show the kids around the city. You go ahead." "Okay, be careful. You need to be at the airport by 8 a.m. tomorrow." My coworkers left without suspicion. I took the kids' hands and got in a taxi. "Take us to this hotel. The one the broker told me about." We got to the hotel. The moment we entered the room, I took off my flight attendant uniform, changed into the regular clothes I'd prepared. Yoonji and Minsu quickly changed too. From now on, we're not North Korean. We're just ethnic Koreans living in China. "Got it?" The kids nodded. At 10 p.m., I called the broker. "We're here." "Good. Come down to the lobby at 4 a.m. tomorrow. A car will pick you up." I hung up and put the kids to bed. But I couldn't sleep. I looked out the window and thought, right now in Pyongyang, my husband is eating dinner. Is my mother-in-law watching the news? Waiting for me to come home. After midnight, I heard footsteps in the hallway. I thought they'd just passed by, but they stopped at our door. My heart stopped. Knock, knock. State security. We're caught. It's over. My whole body froze. Minsu woke up and squeezed my hand tight. Unji pulled the blanket over her head, trembling. Knock, knock again. "Who is it?" I asked in the calmest voice I could manage. "Room service." "Do you need more towels?" "Room service." "Just room service." "No, we're fine." My voice came out weak. The footsteps faded. I sank to the floor. Sweat poured from my body. "Mom, are we getting caught?" Yoonji sobbed. "No, it's okay. Mom will protect you." But my voice was shaking too. That night I didn't sleep at all. Just watched the clock. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Time had never moved so slowly. 3:50 a.m. I woke the kids. "We have to go." We quietly packed and left the room. The hallway was silent. We took the elevator down to the first-floor lobby. Not many people in the lobby. It was early morning. We sat on a corner sofa and waited. That's when someone walked into the hotel entrance. A North Korean, wearing a state security uniform. "It's over." He looked in our direction. I hid Yoonji behind me and signaled Minsu with my eyes. "Keep your head down." The state security officer walked slowly toward us. 30 feet, 15 feet, 10 feet. My heart felt like it would explode. He passed right by us, just kept walking. Got on the elevator and went up. Only then could I breathe. 4 a.m. A car horn sounded outside. The broker had arrived. "Get in. Quick." The broker waved. We rushed to the car. A black van. Inside were 3 other defectors besides us. The car started moving. As we left the hotel, I heard police sirens behind us. "Mom!" Yoonji screamed. "It's okay. It's not for us," the broker said. But my whole body trembled. The car left downtown Beijing. The early morning streets were deserted. We'd been driving for about an hour when suddenly the car stopped. Checkpoint. Stay quiet, the broker said tensely. A Chinese public security officer stood ahead. He knocked on the car window. The broker rolled it down. The officer looked inside. Our eyes met. We're done. This time it's really over. I squeezed Minsu and Unji's hands tight. The kids weren't even breathing. Where are you going? The officer asked. Tourism. Going to see the Great Wall, the broker answered smoothly. The officer stared at us for a long time. Those few seconds felt like a lifetime. Go ahead. The car started again. The moment we passed the checkpoint, the tears I'd been holding back poured out. Mom. Minsu hugged me. We made it. Not yet. We're not safe yet. I looked back. Was anyone following us? The car kept going. We completely left Beijing. The sun rose. A new day dawned. But our escape was just beginning. The car took us to a small village on the outskirts of Beijing. You'll need to hide here for 2 weeks. They'll be tracking from North Korea. The Korean embassy is too dangerous, the broker said. The car stopped in front of an old house. The door opened and a Korean Chinese woman in her 50s came out. Come in. Hurry inside. She waved urgently. She led us to an attic. A cramped, low space. Barely enough room for 3 adults to lie down. You have to stay here. Never go outside. Chinese public security patrols constantly. Her face was serious. Thank you. Thank you so much. I bowed my head. We're the same blood. How could I ignore you? My parents came from the north, too. Tears welled in her eyes. From that day, our hide-and-seek began. The attic was really small. Tiny window. Hardly any sunlight. Hot during the day. Cold at night. But I was grateful. That place saved our lives. The woman brought us 3 meals a day. Chinese food, but much better than what we ate in the north. Rice and several side dishes. Mom, there's so much food here, Yunji said, amazed. In the north, even 1 bowl of corn porridge per meal was hard. Here we had rice and even meat. Right. But eat slowly. We don't want upset stomachs. I gave the kids small portions. But attic life was hard. We couldn't go outside. Couldn't use the bathroom freely. Could only wash every few days. Mom, I feel suffocated. Can't we go out? Minsu asked. No. If we're caught, we're all done. I was firm. On the 4th day, loud noises came from downstairs. Public security. We need to search the house. It was in Chinese, but I understood. My heart stopped. I covered the kids' mouths with my hands. Don't even breathe. Footsteps came up the stairs. 1st floor. 2nd floor. Getting closer. Unji was shaking. Minsu squeezed my hand. We weren't breathing. We've checked the 2nd floor. Upstairs? Upstairs is just storage. Nothing there, the woman answered. We need to check. Footsteps came up the attic stairs, right to the door. Mom and Dad in heaven, please help us. I prayed desperately in my heart. Then the woman's husband's voice came from downstairs. Come look at this. Something's wrong here. The officer went back down. We finally breathed. An hour later, public security left. The woman came up. Phew, that was close. You're okay now. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, I bowed. It's okay. We went through this too long ago. Same people should help each other. She held my hand. That night I talked with the kids. Mom, how long do we stay here? Yunji asked. Soon we'll go to Thailand. From there we go to Korea. Thailand? Where's that? Minsu asked. A warm country. We'll take a plane. I didn't know exactly either, but that's what the broker said. Mom, when is Dad coming? Yunji's voice broke. That question hurt the most. Unji, Dad can't come. My voice shook. Why not? He could just come. Dad has to take care of Grandma. We can't leave her alone. So we're going without Dad? Yunji started crying. I cried too. Minsu cried. The 3 of us cried for a long time in that dark corner of the attic. That night I thought about my husband. Does he know by now that I'm not coming back? That I ran away with the kids? I thought about my mother-in-law too. Mother, please forgive me. Forgive this terrible daughter-in-law. 8 days passed. The broker contacted us. It's ready. Day after tomorrow, take the Bangkok flight from Beijing Airport. I've prepared tickets. Really? We can really go? Yes. But be careful. Lots of North Koreans at the airport. You can't get caught. The last night, the woman made rice cakes for us. Eat these and stay strong. I pray you make it to Korea safely. She held our hands. Thank you so much. I'll contact you when we get to Korea. I hope so. When reunification comes, I want to go north. Find my parents' graves at least. Tears filled her eyes. 2 days later, we headed to Beijing airport, this time to catch the Bangkok flight. New dangers waited. But we couldn't stop. We'd already crossed the river. Beijing airport. I stood there again, but this time not as a flight attendant, just a fugitive. Mom, look, an Air KORYO plane. Minsu pointed. I saw the plane I'd flown for 12 years. Blue fuselage, Air KORYO logo. My coworkers would be looking for me. Where's Youngin? They'd be asking. Don't look. That's got nothing to do with us anymore. I turned the kids away. We walked to the Bangkok gate. Every step felt like my heart would explode. What if someone recognizes me? What if state security is waiting? Just then, 2 North Korean men walked toward us. Looked like trading company people. They might know my face. Minsu, Yunji, hide behind Mom. I hid the kids behind me and lowered my head. The men passed by us. My heart nearly stopped. Please board. The gate agent called us. We got on the plane, sat down, fastened our seatbelts. Until the plane took off, I kept my eyes closed and prayed. Please, please let us be safe. The plane lifted off. Through the window, Beijing grew smaller. Only then could I breathe. Mom, are we really going? Yunji asked. Yes. China is behind us now. We're going to Thailand. I held my daughter's hand. 4 hours later, we arrived in Bangkok. We walked out of the airport. Hot wind hit my face. Even though it was March, it was really hot. We were wearing winter clothes. Mom, it's so hot here. Minsu took off his jacket. We took a taxi to the address the broker gave us. A small hotel in downtown Bangkok. You'll have to wait here again. There are procedures for going to the Korean embassy, the broker said. The room was small, but better than the Chinese attic. At least it had a window and sunlight came in. Wow, Mom, there's air conditioning, Yunji marveled. In the north, we'd never even seen an air conditioner. First night, we went to a restaurant near the hotel. Thai food, spicy and sweet. Mom, this is delicious. Minsu smiled as he ate pad thai. I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen my son smile. On the 4th day, a pastor from a Korean church came. The broker had contacted him. By God's grace, you've made it this far. The pastor held our hands. Just hang on a little longer. You can go to Korea soon. Really? We can really go? Yes. The Korean embassy is processing paperwork. Should take about a week. The pastor brought us food and clothes. And a Bible. Read this when things are hard. God will be with you. I'd never believed in religion in the North. We were taught religion was bad. But in that moment, I was grateful. Grateful for this person helping strangers just because we're the same people. At night, after the kids fell asleep, I opened the Bible. I didn't understand much, but one verse caught my eye. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Tears came. I really was weary and carrying a heavy burden. A week passed. The pastor called. The Korean embassy approved. Go there day after tomorrow. Really? We can really go to Korea? Yes. You're almost there. That night I told the kids, we're really going to Korea now. Mom, what's Korea like? Yunji asked. Well, Mom doesn't know for sure, but we'll be able to live freely. Like those South Koreans I saw in Beijing. I hope Dad can come later too, Minsu said quietly. My heart tore apart. Minsu, Eunji. Mom is sorry. So sorry for leaving Dad behind. For leaving Grandma. I hugged the kids. Mom, it's okay. We know. You did this to save us, Minsu said. When reunification comes, can we see them again? Yunji asked. Yes, absolutely. When reunification comes, Mom will bring Dad. We'll bring Grandma too. 2 days later, we went to the Korean embassy. An embassy staff member greeted us. You've come a long way. You're safe now. Hearing those words, I broke down. All the tears I'd been holding poured out. Really safe? They can't take me away. Yes. You're citizens of the Republic of Korea now. No one can take you. I sank to the floor and cried for a long time. Minsu cried. Yunji cried. 3 days later, we got tickets to Incheon, arriving in Incheon Airport August 3rd, 2019. That day would be the new beginning of our lives. The night before the flight, I couldn't sleep. I looked out the window and wondered, what is my husband doing now? Is my mother-in-law healthy? Will we ever see each other again? But I didn't regret it. I looked at the kids. Minsu and Yunji sleeping peacefully. I wanted these kids at least to live freely. That's what a mother feels. The next day, we boarded the Incheon flight. August 3rd, 2019, 3 p.m. The plane landed at Incheon Airport. The moment the wheels touched ground, tears came. Finally, we're here. the Republic of Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at Incheon International Airport. Welcome to the Republic of Korea. Hearing that announcement, my chest swelled. The Republic of Korea. Country of the same people. Land of freedom. The plane door opened. We slowly got off. The moment we entered the airport, I stopped in my tracks. "Mom, is this Korea?" Minsu asked, mouth open. I was speechless. How do I describe what lay before us? The ceiling was so high you couldn't see the top. Sunlight poured through glass walls. Massive screens sparkled. Crowds of people all walking leisurely. "Mom, look over there." Yoonji pointed. The duty-free shop. Luxury brand stores lined up. The displayed items gleamed. More things than I'd seen in my entire life in the north were right there. "This is really an airport," I muttered. Pyongyang's Sunan airport was old and dark. Not many people. Tense atmosphere. Beijing airport was big too, but this was on another level. Looked 100 times bigger than Sunan. We went to the immigration desk. The staff member saw us and smiled. "You're from the north, right? You've come a long way. Welcome." Hearing that, I cried again. Welcome. When was the last time anyone welcomed us? After immigration, we walked through the airport. "Mom, there's a convenience store." Minsu spotted a 7-Eleven. "What's a convenience store?" Yoonji asked. We didn't have those in the north. We went inside the convenience store. We stood there dazed. Triangle kimbap, sandwiches, cup noodles, drinks, snacks. Every kind of food packed the shelves. The refrigerator was full of cold drinks. "Can you buy all this?" I asked an employee. "Yes, please choose whatever you'd like." The employee smiled. I picked up a triangle kimbap, looked at the price tag. 2,500 won. 2,500 won. In the north, our monthly salary was 5,000 won. My hand shook. This one little kimbap was a third of our monthly salary back there. "Mom, are you okay? Why are you crying?" Yoonji held my hand. "No, it's just so amazing." I wiped my tears. We paid and sat on chairs to eat the kimbap. Minsu took a bite and said, "Mom, this is really good. Better than the rice balls we had on holidays." Hearing that, tears came to my eyes again. My son could buy something better than holiday food at an ordinary convenience store. Looking around the airport, I checked the time. 2 a.m. It's the middle of the night. Why are there so many people? Minsu was surprised. That's when I realized this place runs 24 hours. Convenience stores, restaurants, everything stayed open day and night. In the north, when night came, everything stopped. Power went out. Streets went dark. People had to stay inside. But here, even at dawn, lights blazed. People moved freely. "Mom, I think those people are using Wi-Fi for internet," Minsu said. "What's Wi-Fi?" Yoonji asked. Minsu asked a staff member who gave us the airport Wi-Fi password. Minsu turned on the internet on the used smartphone the broker prepared. "Mom, look at this." Minsu showed me the screen. He'd searched North Korea. We sat there and looked at the internet for a long time. News about North Korea. Defector stories. North-South relations. Things we could never see in the North. "Mom, it says here that everything we learned in the North was lies," Minsu said. "I know. Mom knows now, too." I put my arm around my son's shoulder. The next day we went to Hanawon, the place where defectors first settle. There we spent 3 months learning about life in Korea, Korean speech patterns, Korean culture, social systems. Everything was new. "Mom, the way of talking is different here. Not imnida like in the north, but yayo," Yoonji said. "Then we'll have to learn." I smiled. Life at Hanawon was comfortable. Good food, hot water, electricity 24 hours. Things we couldn't imagine in the north. But at night I thought about my husband. "Honey, I wish you could feel this freedom. If only our whole family could live together in this wonderful place." I thought about my mother-in-law too. "Mother, are you healthy? Did you get your medicine? Is it hard without your daughter-in-law?" After 3 months, we left Hanawon. The government provided us with a small apartment on the outskirts of Seoul, but clean and nice. Minsu and Eunji started going to school. It was hard at first. Different speech, different culture. "Mom, the kids say my North Korean accent is weird." Yoonji came home crying. "It's okay. You'll get used to it. We haven't been here long." I hugged my daughter. I started working at a supermarket, sitting at the register, scanning items. Working at the market, I was amazed every day. Rice, meat, fruit, vegetables, everything overflowing. Things that were precious in the north were so common here. 3 apples for 5,000 won. In the north, 1 apple cost a month's salary. I can't believe it. I muttered. A coworker laughed. Was North Korea that hard? Yes. You can't even imagine. Now we live freely. Minsu graduated high school and went to college. Yoonji made friends in middle school. But every night I think about the North, my husband, my mother-in-law, and countless people still there. If reunification comes someday, can we meet again? I tell the kids, we were lucky to come here. But in the North, there are still many people starving and suffering. We have to live well so we can help them someday. Mom, when reunification comes, can we see Dad again? Yoonji asks. Yes, absolutely. I hope we see reunification in our generation. I can't forget the shock I felt at Incheon Airport. Same people, why do we have to live so differently? Freedom isn't free. I got it at the price of leaving my husband and mother-in-law behind, at the price of crying myself to sleep every night. But I don't regret it. Whenever I see my kids laughing freely, dreaming, planning their futures, I think I made the right choice. Everyone, don't take freedom for granted. Those of us who came from the North feel every day how precious it is. And I pray that someday reunification will come. The day when I can see my husband again, bring my mother-in-law, and share this freedom with all the family left in the North. Until that day comes, I'll work hard here, raising my kids well, dreaming of the day when everyone can live happily together in a reunified Korea. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story.